Why is that?
It's a really important point. Companies House is basically a registry. It's where companies file all sorts of information about themselves.
So registering the debenture deed there is basically just saying, hey, this document exists.
Right? It creates a public record. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the security itself is rock solid or even enforceable.
So it's not a guarantee of protection?
Not at all. It's like registering your car.
Toy.
It proves you did the paperwork, but it doesn't guarantee that the car is actually safe to drive.
Okay, I get it. So registering with Companies House is just one small step.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean everything is hunky-dory.
Exactly.
So this whole debenture deed situation under T&T trustees is pretty concerning, to say the least. But the problems don't end there, do they? There's also this whole other issue with Castle Trust and Management Services Limited.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole other can of worms.
And it involves two specific companies within the 79th Group, 79th Commercial 3 Limited and 79th Luxury Living 5 Limited.
And what's particularly troubling here is that official records still show Castle Trust and Management Services Limited as the security trustee for these two companies.
Which wouldn't be a big deal except for the fact that Castle Trust and Management Services Limited is, well, essentially out of commission.
Yeah. They entered administration in Gibraltar a while back.
And for anyone who's not familiar with the term administration, is basically the first step towards a company being wound down.
It means they're in serious financial trouble, and they're under the control of administrators who are trying to figure out how to best deal with the situation.
So not exactly the kind of company you want in charge of protecting your investments.
Definitely not.
And to make matters even more confusing, the 79th Group announced a suspension of loan note payments on March 24, 2025.
Yeah, they blamed it on reputational and financial issues stemming from some police action.
Not exactly a vote of confidence.
Nope. And then just to add another layer of complexity to this whole mess, T&T trustees sent out an email to some investors.
What did it say?
Well, they claimed that they had been appointed as the new security trustee, replacing Castle Trust and Management Services Limited.
Okay, so they're stepping in to fill the void.
That's what they're saying, but the timing of this whole thing is really suspicious.
How so?
They claim their appointment was effective December 1st, 2023. But remember, Castle Trust and Management Services Limited went into administration in Gibraltar months before that.
So how can a company that's basically on its way out legally transfer such a crucial responsibility?
Exactly. It's like trying to hand off a baton in a relay race when your runner has already tripped and fallen.
Not very effective.
Not at all.
And to make things even murkier, there seems to be a real lack of transparency around this supposed handover.
Right. T&T trustees mention these legal documents, a deed of retirement, an appointment, and a deed of assignment. But guess what?
They're nowhere to be found.
You got it.
Right.
They haven't been filed with Companies House, and they haven't been made available to the loan note holders.
So we're basically taking their word for it.
Pretty much. And that's not very reassuring.
No, it's not. So we've got this situation where the company that's officially listed as the security trustee is essentially defunct, and the supposed replacement appointment is shrouded in secrecy. What does this mean for the loan note holders from a legal perspective?
Well, if you connect all the dots, it creates a very dangerous situation for those who invested in these 79th Group loan notes.
How so?
Well, first of all, the enforceability of that security is now highly questionable.
Because we don't even know who's actually in charge of enforcing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a legal mess. And then there's the issue of individual investors not having the power to take direct action.
So you're completely reliant on the security trustee, whoever that may be.
And right now we have a situation where the officially listed trustee is likely unable to act, and the replacement status is unconfirmed.
So basically you're stuck in limbo.
And that limbo could mean losing your investment. It's not a good place to be.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening who's invested in these 79th Group loan notes, what should they be doing right now?
Well, according to the source material, time is of the essence. Taking action sooner rather than later is absolutely crucial.
So don't wait around hoping things will magically sort themselves out.
Right. And luckily, Insolvency and Law, the folks who did all this digging, are actively helping investors navigate this mess.
That's good to hear. What are they doing specifically?
Well, for starters, they're carefully reviewing the existing security documentation to really understand where the weaknesses are and what legal challenges might arise.
So they're doing their homework.
Oh, yeah. And they're also guiding investors on how to form a lender's majority group.
What's that?
It's basically a way for investors to band together and have a much stronger collective voice.
So there's power in numbers.
Absolutely. And that can be really helpful when it comes to negotiating with the 79th Group or pursuing legal action.
Makes sense. And I understand they're also offering legal representation in potential collective enforcement efforts.
That's right. So if investors decide to take legal action, they can have experienced lawyers fighting for their rights.
That's reassuring. So for anyone who wants to explore these options and get in touch with insolvency and law, what should they do?
The easiest way is to send them an email. Their address is investigations@insolvencyandlaw.co.uk.
And I believe they also welcome inquiries from anyone who's owed money by a company, not just those involved with the 79th Group.
Right. So if you're in a similar situation, don't hesitate to reach out.
So to recap, we've uncovered some pretty serious issues with the security arrangements for these 79th Group loan notes.
The debenture deed under T&T trustees is riddled with problems, and the whole Castle Trust and Management Services Limited situation just adds another layer of complexity and uncertainty.
All of which means that those who invested in these loan notes are facing a very real risk of losing their money.
It's a stark reminder that even when investments appear to be secure, you need to really dig into the details and understand the fine print.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't just take someone's word for it. Do your own research and make sure you're comfortable with the level of risk involved.
And if you're not comfortable or if you have any doubts, don't be afraid to walk away.
It's your money and your future. Protect it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.